Also, just some ground rules for today. We have about an hour with this room, so we're going to limit testimony to 1 minute for witnesses, just so you know ahead of time. Senator, proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Chairman Fitzwater, members of the committee. David Gregory, State Senator, St. Louis County 15. Before you is Senate Bill 1197. What this bill does is it seeks to require the implementation of wrong-way vehicle detection systems that will detect and prevent wrong-way drivers. So right now, Missouri's doesn't have really, I'm aware of any of these systems, and if so, there's certainly not enough. I have a very dear friend here that will be testifying in a moment, but she lost her son to a wrong-way driver that, in my opinion, could have been prevented. Nonetheless, we all would agree should be prevented to the greatest extent that we can. Wrong-way driving is becoming an issue, and so what we're seeking to do is simply put up a system at ramps and roadways that we see a common trend of wrong-way driving. And what these systems will do is just become very alerting. A lot of lights flashing, cameras that can alert police right away for a response. And so that's what we're seeking to do. And I also want to note the fiscal note is anywhere between 100 and something thousand to 600 something thousand. We are going to be amending this to make it upon additional appropriate or upon federal grant, successful grant application for it, so that the note would be next to nothing. My only ask will be that it mandatorily be put up at the highway intersection where my good friend's son lost his life. With that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, Senator. We heard this bill last year too,
Yes.
right? We and passed it through this committee just for the committee's reference.
Yep.
Any questions for the senator? Seeing none. Anybody here to testify in favor of the bill? Go ahead and hop up and please, for our records, leave a witness form. Proceed when you're ready.
Hi, my name is Dawn Whalen, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I'm here as the mother of Alexander Whalen and also as a concerned Missouri citizen. On January 17th, 2025, my son Alex was killed on a Missouri highway by a wrong-way driver. In a single moment, my life was changed forever. And what would have been an ordinary day became the worst day of our family's life. This bill, Senate Bill 1197, the Alexander Whalen Safe Highways Act, is not just legislation to me. It is my son's legacy, and it affects the safety of everyone traveling on a Missouri highway. Over the past year, my family has experienced a level of grief and devastation that is impossible to fully describe. There's no preparation that can prepare you for such loss of a child. So there's no moving on for me. It's only learning to live with the world that no longer has my son in it. Wrong-way driving is not rare. It happens more often than we realize, and not every wrong-way driver results in a crash. But when it does, it's catastrophic, resulting in fatalities and very serious bodily injury. And these are not minor accidents. These are head-on collisions at high rates of speed. Senate Bill 1197 takes a practical, data-driven step towards preventing these tragedies by implementing wrong-way vehicle detection systems, which is technology that can identify a wrong-way driver, alert authorities, and potentially warn other drivers before it's too late. Everyone deserves a highway which is safe, and possibly so they can make it home, because everyone on the road is someone's Alexander Whalen, and they are loved by someone. They deserve to make it home. We never expected anything like this would happen to us until it did. The best way I can honor my son is to making meaningful steps to prevent further tragedy. So this bill will not bring my son back, but it can save lives. And so I'm asking you respectfully and urgently to support Senate Bill 1197.
Thank you for your testimony. Any questions? Senator Washington, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. I want to say thank you for coming today, and I'm so sorry for your loss. I think this is a great bill. I haven't looked all the way through it, but not just hearing your testimony, but my best friend will be 59 this year, and 40 years ago, I guess 39 years ago, I got dropped off. We had all been out kind of hanging out, and I was pregnant, and so I got dropped off at home. And about 4 o'clock that morning, there are 4 of us, and we were woken up. The other 2 of us who didn't go on with them to appear at the emergency room. And we walked right past my friend because we didn't even know who she was. Now, she survived and will be 59, and she still doesn't look like the person that was my friend the day before the accident. And it was a wrongful, it was a car on the wrong way. And they were on their way to Clay Como to pick up our other friend's brother from work. And they were in an old car, one of those cars so old it wasn't even required to have seat belts. And the only thing that saved her life, they were going over the Missouri River, was that the driver, another one of our best friends, went to the left and hit the barrier. Because had she swerved to the right, they both probably would have ended up in the Missouri River. And so something warning someone of something like that probably could. My friend is totally a different person. Her whole face is scarred up. My child and my grandchildren, they don't know. When they see old pictures of her when she was young, they go, "What, that lady? She looked like Love cousin or something." Well, no, it's Love. Because it doesn't have the facial scarring. So I just want to thank you for sharing your testimony, and I'm sorry for crying. But I mean, my friends are alive, but it changed all 4 of us. It changed our lives and our parents' lives as to how we drive. So I'm sorry for your loss, and hopefully we can get this through for your son. And the cost here, there is no cost. My friend, she can't go through metal detectors without first advising them that I have metal in every limb in my body. I can't lift my right arm above the shoulder level. So these things can have devastating impacts. And so if we had something that would help, a warning sign would have helped them to know that something was coming down 435. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor of the bill?
Good morning, Chairman and esteemed members of the committee. I'm Heather Elder, a victim service specialist here on behalf of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today in support of Senate Bill 1197, the Whalen Safe Highways Act, which will implement wrong-way vehicle detection systems across Missouri's highways. I'm here because lives are being lost in preventable crashes, often in the most tragic and sudden ways. I'm here because Alexander's mother, Dawn, who you just heard testify, is one of the many, many victims who have become part of my family through their tragic losses. Wrong-way driving incidents are among the deadliest crashes we see. They frequently occur at highway speeds, head-on, leaving little to no time for drivers to react. A significant number of these incidents do involve impaired driving, which is where MAD comes in, whether due to alcohol, drugs, or other factors that reduce awareness and judgment. In preliminary 2025 data, there were 56 crashes involving a substance-impaired wrong-way driver. In those crashes, 6 people were killed and 21 seriously injured. These are exactly the moments where human error is most dangerous and where technology can step in to save lives. That is why wrong-way detection systems matter. These systems use sensors, cameras, and real-time alerts to identify vehicles entering roadways in the wrong direction. They immediately warn the driver, alert traffic management centers, and can notify law enforcement before the tragedy occurs. In some cases, they even trigger dynamic message signs to warn other drivers. This is not experimental technology. It is proven effective and already saving lives in other states and parts of the country. But behind every one of these statistics is a human story. One such story is that of Alexander Whalen, whom you just heard about. Alexander was killed in a wrong-way crash on January 17, 2025. His family and too many others are left with grief that no policy can undo. We can act to prevent the next family from experiencing that loss. Investing in wrong-way detection systems is not just about infrastructure. It is about responsibility. It is about recognizing that impaired driving will still happen despite our best prevention efforts and ensuring we have safeguards in place when it does. It is about using every available tool to intervene before a mistake becomes a fatality. The cost of these systems is small compared to the cost of a single life lost, and the return on investment is measured in lives saved, families kept whole, and communities spared from tragedy. Missouri has an opportunity to lead, to take a proactive, data-driven approach to roadway safety. I urge you to support the implementation of wrong-way vehicle detection systems and make our highways safer for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Anybody who would like to question the witness?
Thank you for
Thank you
sharing.
for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor? Anybody in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes only? That'll conclude the hearing. Thank you, Senator. We're going to take roll really quick. Alyssa, call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Here.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
Quorum being established, we're officially in committee. Senator Carter, you want to, first of all, let me get a show of hands on who's here to testify on Senate Bill 1283. Raise your hand if you're testifying on 1283. Senate Bill 1283. All right, in opposition to Senate Bill 1283. Anybody in opposition? All right, who's here for House Bill 1827? And then who's here for 2069 and 2208? Okay. Again, we're going to limit testimony to 1 minute. So if we can keep that under control, under that time limit, that'd be really helpful. If you have written testimony, we've said this many times in our committee, you can send it in. We'll distribute it to committee members. But we're going to start limiting testimony because we have a short window here. So Senator Carter, proceed when you're ready on Senate Bill 1283.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. I appreciate the opportunity to present Senate Bill 1283 to you today. This is a bill that we had last year. This offers the same protections as riding stables, ski resorts, and other activity and sports-driven venues. Due to the shortness of time, I'm going to just defer to the testimony from my constituents on this piece of legislation. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. But with that,
Any questions for the sponsor on Senate Bill 1283? Hearing none. Anybody here to testify in favor of the bill? Go ahead, hop up, and there's witness forms there on the desk. If you don't mind filling those out for our records, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Senators, for hearing me. Thank you, Jill Carter, for helping us co-write this bill. So my name's Bo Johnson, and I own a motocross facility in Joplin, Missouri, in Neosho, four-state moto complex. And so we've basically what she said. This is a bill that's already in place for other activities. Motocross is suffering right now because over 100 tracks have been shut down in the United States alone, just from frivolous lawsuits, from incidents that should have probably been protected from. So we introduced this bill a year ago, I believe she did. And so as a guy that owns track, I have a great passion for children, and we're outdoors people. So kids, if we keep going the way we're going, there's not going to be a place for these guys to ride their dirt bikes in a safe manner. And you know, getting this bill passed would preserve that for children. So I wrote a lot of stuff down here, but basically, since Senator Jill Carter got this bill wrote, 4 states have passed this: Iowa, Texas, Arkansas, and North Carolina. And we actually shared that bill with those states. And I've been tracking it, and what I would like to see is Missouri follow suit, where we could get these kids. They're in a safe environment, but keep them there and give them a place to ride, because if it keeps going the way we're going, they won't have that opportunity. So I would like to thank you for that. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you. Oh, Senator Washington.
Yeah, when they're doing the motocross, say this is on your land.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, thank you for coming up.
Thank you.
Do they have to sign anything?
Yes, ma'am. We have waivers in place. I sit on the board for the AMA, American Motorcycle Association, and the American Motorcycle Association provides waivers And also in this bill, I'd like to, we included a clause for negligence. So if we're not doing our part as track owners, then we deserve to be brought to court. But if we're doing our part, I'm talking about things that, tracks are getting shut down because little Johnny didn't sign a waiver and no one was there to make him, and he gets on a dirt bike and goes out there and gets hurt. No one knows. And like Village Creek in Texas shut down a $1 million lawsuit against this operation because no one knew he didn't sign a waiver and took it upon himself to get on the dirt bike. Never should have been on it. So that guy lost his business just because, the parents sued him. So he never should have been on that dirt bike. Parents weren't there. So, but there are waivers in place for that, and we do have them sign those waivers. And then we also carry an insurance. But the insurance is getting so hard to get because, last year alone, 17 lawsuits just due to pit bikes, against the AMA.
I'm just going to say from a personal injury attorney perspective,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
have one part in here that the bill won't stop, won't limit the liability, won't limit your liability if there's some intentional injuries to the participant. I will tell you that your insurance ain't paying for that. No way. They don't pay for intentional
No, ma'am.
things. So that's doesn't sway me, but I definitely get what you're saying. But if you're having them sign waivers, like I think my sister senator here said something about ski resorts, we don't sign waivers at ski resorts, and we do still sue them for those of us who ski. But there are the signs up nowhere near the trails, but I think about kids playing sports. I'm the one that signs up my grandkids for everything, and then I get yelled at by my daughter and her husband because they have to take them. I'm here, so I got yelled at today and yesterday, but she has to sign those waivers for
Yes,
my
ma'am.
boys to play sports. So if you're signing a waiver and the other things, I definitely appreciate. I would hate to see that taken away from it, and definitely don't want them riding up and down the public streets like they're doing in some cities. So thank you for coming, and thank you for your testimony.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, sir. Anybody else here to testify in favor of the bill? Anybody in opposition? Anybody for informational purposes only? That'll conclude the hearing on Senate Bill 1283. Senator?
I appreciate your time in hearing the testimony, and thank you.
Thanks, Senator. All right, we're going to go to Representative Violet. If you want to hop up here on House Bill 1827. Again, we'll give House members and senators a little bit more time to testify for their legislation, but we do ask you to limit testimony to 1 minute. Both of the next couple bills have been heard in Senate versions, and so we've had a lot of the testimony. Representative, proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, and members of the committee. My name is Terry Violet, and I'm the state representative for the 104th District in St. Charles County. I'm grateful for this opportunity to present House Bill 1827. This bill will feel very familiar to you all, as this committee has already passed a companion bill sponsored by Senator Weber earlier this year. This bill is very simple and accomplishes two tasks. First, we are adding occupational therapists to the list of healthcare professionals that can sign off on a patient's need for a disabled license plate or disabled windshield placard. This change reduces administrative hurdles and removes unnecessary visits to a physician, and it creates a smoother process for patients with mobility issues. Second, we'll be extending the period between renewals of disabled plates for every 4 years to every 8 years. Again, this is removing a barrier to access by allowing patients who have long-term mobility impairment from needing to renew the placard constantly. Currently, there's about 7,000 licensed occupational therapists who, if we pass this measure, would be able to sign off on patients to receive disabled license plates and placards. In a moment, the committee will hear from Jackie Samples from the Missouri Occupational Therapists Association. And Mr. Chairman, I respectfully request for this bill to be voted do pass by consent as well.
Thank you, Representative. I really think you could have found a better Senate sponsor, but we'll worry about that when we get into the vote part of it. So, any questions for the representative? Representative Washington, proceed.
Who?
Senator Washington. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I know it's very offensive.
He doesn't have much time left, so I don't have much time to haze him. I don't have a thing. I just wanted to echo my chair. I think that you probably could have found a more likely foe to be with you. But I want to thank you for bringing this. I do have I have a cousin who's I don't even know if she still need OT, so I won't say her name. But she's been she's had a handicap sticker for like forever. But it would help her if it, one, was expanded beyond the 4 years, and two, if her occupational therapist, she has some issues with her ankle, could do that instead of her always having to try to get into her primary, which can take a really, really long time. So thank you for bringing this, and we'll find somebody to help you out over here. Thank you.
Any other questions
Yeah,
for the
Mr.
representative? Senator Weber.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just
Proceed.
wanted to make clear to the committee I could have passed this bill if I wanted to, but I decided to defer to the representative because it's called class. I was being classy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Well, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions of the sponsor? Hearing none. Thank you, Representative. Anybody here to testify in favor of the bill? Go ahead and hop up here and please fill out a witness form, and please keep your comments under a minute.
I gotcha. So I'm Dr. Jackie Sample. I'm currently the president of the Missouri Occupational Therapy Association. The best way to support the occupational therapy practitioners are qualified for this is that our national association, AARP and AAA, got together and created a program called CarFit, which is a free program for people in the community that literally people can drive in. Occupational therapy practitioners and students look at their cars. They decide if the person needs adaptations to those vehicles so that they can drive safely on the road. And these programs are held by multiple occupational therapy programs throughout the state. So this is something that we are trained in, that we do frequently, and I think the national partnership reflects that.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor of the bill? Anybody in opposition? Anyone for informational purposes only? Great. Representative, there's no fiscal note, right? No. On this bill?
I don't believe. Is it? I have 0.
Great. We figured it out. Thanks, Representative. All right. That'll conclude the hearing on House Bill 1827. We'll now move to Representative Phelps, House Committee Substitute for House Bills 2069 and 2208. Representative, proceed when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. For the record, I am Representative Brandon Phelps, District 54. I'm here today to present House Bill 2069. I appreciate the committee's time and consideration. House Bill 2069 will create safe, responsible regulatory framework authorizing the legal use of autonomous vehicles throughout our state. Now, similar legislation has been passed in 26 other states prior to this year, including all the border states except for Illinois. The facts don't lie. After over 200 million passenger miles logged, Waymo vehicles have been involved in 90% fewer crashes than human-driven vehicles. Autonomous vehicles, they don't drive drunk, they don't drive with road rage, they don't drive distracted, they don't fall asleep behind the wheel. This legislation is designed to make our roads safer, drive new economic development, and provide transportation options for people all over the state, specifically those folks who cannot drive themselves, such as the elderly and the disabled. I certainly appreciate the committee's time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Representative. Any questions for the sponsor? Senator Washington.
Thank you for that edit and correction. Thank you, Representative Phelps, for coming in. One of the questions that I have is that the autonomous vehicles are continuously being promoted to help our elderly or our disabled. Who gonna get them to the car?
Well, that is actually one of the benefits. So many times when you think about other options, buses, rail, whatever it may be, you have to think of something similar to like a Lyft or an Uber, where these things can come right to your doorstep, right? Like any other taxi.
And then the driver gets out and he helps them to the car.
Might do that. Yeah, in that particular case, if they, in that particular situation where you might need an individual to help you there, no, they're not going to do that. So it's not going to be 100% of the scenarios necessarily where they're going to help these people, but it does provide new additional options. And that's what we're doing. We're simply trying to provide more safe, responsible options for individuals. Will it fix it for everybody? Perhaps not, but it's an additional option.
Okay, so is there a fiscal note on this?
It was extremely limited. The handful of agencies that were reached out to and municipalities saw that there would be no fiscal impact. I believe the city of Branson thought it was possible there would be some, but they did not want to speculate on what that would be.
Okay, and that fiscal note to the state is because of our increased administrative costs to do this?
Yeah, with the with the Department of Revenue. Yeah.
Okay, and let's say that the Waymo gets involved, and I'm sorry, I know Waymo's not the only company, but that's what I'm most familiar with. They do get into a wreck and the passenger in their vehicle is unable to breathe or whatever. Who saves that person until the ambulance gets there?
Well, I would say that would be the same scenarios if that person were driving themselves in a vehicle and they were in an accident and they couldn't breathe.
They can talk and they can wave people down if they're...
Well, but I'm just saying in your scenario, if they were injured and couldn't breathe, they couldn't talk, then, I mean, who would save them? It's the same scenario, right? So if you had a scenario...
it's not the same scenario.
I may not understand your question.
Okay, so it's not the same scenario. I've seen the Waymos. Ain't nobody pulling over when they don't see a driver. Let's be real clear. Two, while I may be unable to totally breathe, there's a human in there, and as humans, we just inherently help each other. But that's something that we can kind of talk about offline. Another couple of things is, it was my understanding that this legislation was going to exclude or provide some exemptions for heavy trucks and commercial drivers, and I don't see that in here. Do you have a substitute coming that is going to do that? Because that affects my vote a lot.
Yeah, I don't. So the original language had a section in there that made reference to autonomous vehicles also acting as commercial vehicles. And actually the language said a fully autonomous vehicle that is also a commercial vehicle as defined in section 301.010 may operate pursuant to state laws governing the operation of a commercial motor vehicle. We had an amendment on the floor that took that out, took that authorization out so that autonomous vehicles may not operate as a commercial vehicle. That was the only amendment offered on the floor, and so that's the current language that we have.
So is it or is it not in here? Because I didn't see it in here. Was the amendment added?
Yes. Yeah, that amendment was added to take out that whole section authorizing the use of autonomous vehicles as commercial vehicles.
Okay.
We took that out.
So now I have another quick question, because that wasn't really where I was going. But if you say that if you take out the fact they can be autonomous commercial vehicles, then what's the point?
Well, so the interesting thing is right now these vehicles can operate in the state right now. So there is no line in state statute that makes these vehicles illegal. This legislation is putting a regulatory framework onto autonomous vehicles. But nowhere in state statute is it illegal.
Is it illegal in some municipalities?
That I couldn't answer you, Senator. I know
Okay.
there's no state law. So, you know, there is a scenario. I mean, I guess I would say if you love autonomous vehicles, you would probably love this legislation. And if you hate autonomous vehicles, you would probably love this legislation because
So I would a little bit disagree with you. If I had my own Waymo or if I was contracting with Waymo, maybe there's not state statute for that. But if I am the company Waymo and I intend to have whatever the state statute is for cabs, if I'm a cab company, then I would have some regulatory resistance a little bit because there are regulations on on what a cab company can do and how many they can have and so on and so forth. But now I'll be transparent. I've been in a Waymo and it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie about that. Part of what was awesome is they didn't talk to me, and I'm a talker. But I just found it it was very relaxing. However, I do have some concerns. I don't want Waymo 18-wheelers on the highway. I don't want Waymo bus drivers. You know, I've lived in New York for a while. I don't think we want to do that on the Waymo. So I would like to work with you, you know, especially to make sure that we're not losing jobs because we are. There's, you know, Waymo's not bringing any jobs to us. They're not bringing any plants or, I'm not even sure, did we see a plant? I'm not sure what we saw, but it was cool.
Whole facility, yeah.
But we didn't see like where they made we didn't really see the transfer. So I'd like to work with you on that because I think when you look at what a commercial vehicle is, that's any vehicle used for money. And there are regulations on that, which is why a lot of cab companies say that's not my employee, that's my 1099 person, my contract, although Yellow Cab owns the taxi. But I definitely would want to see. I get harassed so much in this place. I'd like to work with you on that because I'm not saying we limit all commercial, but we definitely need to limit it to where you can't be, you know, transporting freight or hazardous materials or whatever the case may be. And I'd like to see you all continue to work with the organizations that this will most affect. You know, I don't want my Teamsters not having a job. I don't want my gig employees that are out here in this, you know, young people, y'all don't like to work, but at least not 9 to 5. But that's where we are in our economy. So I'd like to work with you on that if that's okay with
Absolutely.
you, Representative. Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Senator.
Further questions for the sponsor, Senator Weber.
I just had one question. And I don't want to get bogged down in the details of what they're doing, but are these Waymo vehicles still being controlled, impacted, interfaced with people in the Philippines?
No, so I know there's a lot of news on that, and certainly there's going to be, I think, some experts here to discuss that later. So, you know, Waymo's a big company, obviously. You know, it's a worldwide company owned by Google. They've got employees all over the world. Are there employees that work for Google or Waymo in the Philippines? Yes. Do they play a role in autonomous vehicles? Yes. Do they control the vehicles? Driving, steering, braking, acceleration? No, not at all. 100% of that, 100% of the vital operations are in the U.S. The team that is so often referred to in the Philippines is a team that actually answers questions sent to that team from the vehicle itself. When the vehicle has a situation and it gives basically a multiple choice to a team member saying, in this scenario, how would you advise I react? Now, the vehicle still has the ability to react any way it wants based on current road conditions, weather, and whatever it may be. It's simply getting a second opinion, and it is not required to follow that second opinion.
Is that supposed to make me feel better? That's insane. Like, are you?
Well,
That is nuts.
and let me explain further. So which part of it?
Yeah, like the whole thing. Like the idea that there's a multiple, the vehicle, so you're saying it's not controlling, but the asking, when you say somebody's asking a question, for all of human existence until the last, few years, that's meant a human asking a question. But what you're telling me is that a machine is asking a question to somebody in the Philippines who's then giving them multiple choice answers, which the vehicle can then decide whether they want, which one of the choices they want to follow. Like on Missouri's roads, like take yourself out of the legislature, take yourself away from the bills. On its face, that sounds insane. Like that sounds absolutely bonkers. If I explain to somebody on the street, hey, guess what? There's this vehicle, this machine that is driving 70 miles an hour, no weight limits because there's no weight limits in the bill, and it's going to ask somebody in the Philippines a multiple choice question, which it may or may not listen to, and that's going to determine whether you and your family live or die. Like they would think that was crazy. Only in this building would anybody think that's a good answer to that question.
So if I may, Senator,
No, you may not. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, anybody here to testify in favor? Go ahead and hop up and fill out a witness form for our records.
Good afternoon, Chair and distinguished members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify again in favor of this framework for autonomous vehicles. Since I was here previously, I do just want to highlight some recent milestones that I think will share with the committee the rapid adoption and proven safety of the Waymo driver. Since I was last year a few months ago, we have now expanded from 5 cities to 11 cities, including yesterday we launched in Nashville. We've increased our ridership. We are now providing 500,000 rides on a weekly basis to paid riders, up from 400,000 riders. We have doubled our weekly mileage, so we are driving 4 million autonomous miles every week across the country, up from 2 million miles most recently. We've also, and this is the most important thing, improved our safety outcomes. So as we scale, our safety record continues to grow. Our latest data shows that the Waymo driver is now reducing serious injury crashes by 92%. That is up from 90% just a few months ago. So as we drive more, we are making the roads safer in the cities where we operate. And our analysis has shown that we are preventing 1 serious injury every 8 days. We are incredibly proud of the expanding safety record. And as we speak today, thousands of Americans are relying on our service daily, including those that cannot get themselves to point A to point B without needing another person. And so while we pass this clear framework for the deployment of fully autonomous vehicles, we can allow Missouri to ensure these life-saving mobility options are also here in the state. We look forward to being part of the solution to reduce traffic-related injuries and fatalities, and I urge your support for House Bill 2069.
Thank you. Questions for the witness? Senator Weber.
Okay, so you're saying that Waymos are safer now than they were a couple months ago?
Yes, as we drive more, the data is showing that compared to the human drivers in the cities we operate, our safety records are improving.
So is it a safe assumption to say that with another year of driving, they will be safer in a year than they are today?
I mean, I can't speak to what it'll look like, but the trend is in that direction, yes.
So that seems like that's what it would look like.
Yeah,
Is
the
it would
trend,
be-
yeah.
Okay, so you assume that it'll be safer a year from now than it is today?
I think, yeah, we can, yeah, I think that's a fair assumption.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Senator Shore, go ahead.
To inquire. Thank you again for coming. I've had some questions that I get a little bit of mixed information on. Can you give me a breakdown of what the liability limits are in other states? Because while I know that this is part of the future coming, I do share the concern from Senator Weber has and many others on this committee that we've seen a lot of these videos where a Waymo's backing into a vehicle. They're still learning. I get that. Maybe putting somebody over railroad tracks. I mean, we've all seen these videos. So my concern, if something does happen and somebody has to assert their 7th Amendment rights, what are the policy limits in the majority of the states where Waymo does have a presence?
Yes, every state, so 26 states have passed commercial deployment, the states that have passed commercial deployment language, the liability limits are $1 million, which is what's in place in this bill. It refers to the TNC statute, which has $1 million liability frameworks.
Are there other states that have higher limits?
Not for commercial deployment, not testing frameworks like California. They have a $5 million limit, but that was a testing bill that was passed in 2012.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Anybody else here to testify in favor? Go ahead and hop up and proceed when you're ready.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. My name is David Stokes, Director of Municipal Policy at the Show Me Institute, Missouri's free market think tank. I have copies of my testimony for every member of the committee. I'll just put these right here with my witness form if that's what you would like me to do. So obviously, I won't repeat what's in the written testimony, but simply to hear in strong support for expanding Waymo, allowing Waymo in Missouri. I know the representative already spoke about how they are technically allowed, but this language would prevent, say, one municipality that happens to be at the intersection of multiple highways from being the one city that says, nope, no Waymo's allowed, and then they sort of flummox the whole thing. For us, though, it really comes back to the fact that there is a 90% reduction in accidents everywhere Waymo is operating. And I cite one study here in this paper, but I saw another study, I just shared it on social media while waiting here, that just came out, that they are safer than human drivers. They don't drink and drive, they don't get angry at the neighboring driver, and they don't get distracted, which might be the most important one, as we all, I mean, I think most of you people here know that, you know, with so many people looking at these phones as they drive, driving has gotten more dangerous in recent years, not safer, and that's after decades and decades of a reduction in traffic accidents and traffic fatalities in America. Well, now, thanks to many types of technology, I think we can get this turned around and improve safety. Waymo doesn't get distracted. Waymo doesn't fail to look at the traffic ahead of it, and I think it would be wonderful for our state. And with that, I will leave everything else to the written testimony right here and not go past my 1 minute.
Thank you. Any questions for this witness? Seeing none.
Thank you, Senators.
Anybody else here to testify in favor? Thank you.
Good afternoon, morning. Mr. Chair, members of the committee, my name is Jared Hankinson. I represent the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I know I've got limited time, so I'll be very brief here. A few reasons why the Missouri Chamber is so eager to support this legislation. When we talk about the introduction of autonomous vehicles to the state of Missouri, this truly is an economic development tool. We view this as a workforce tool in two ways. Not only are there jobs that are created with the introduction of Waymo into localities, I've had the opportunity to see the jobs with my own eyes that this industry does bring to certain areas. It's also a workforce accessibility component. Let's take into consideration those folks that might not be able to drive. The opportunity for a reliable and a low-cost option to get them to the workplace and engage in the workforce is something that we're incredibly excited about. I will briefly also touch on safety. Not only is there, as you've heard from a previous witness, plenty of data out there to support the incredibly robust safety record of autonomous driving. That safety record is improving every day. But again, with my own eyes, I've had the opportunity to see that the teams that are leading in the AV space take safety incredibly seriously. It is their number one priority. They have dozens of team members that are committed to addressing safety concerns and improving safety outcomes. And I heard the timer go off. My last comment that I will say, this is an opportunity for the state of Missouri to embrace technology and step into the future and make sure that as our state is on a global platform. We look at the World Cup coming to Kansas City in 2026. I'm sure folks will be flying into St. Louis, Kansas City. The opportunity to advertise Missouri is open for business. We're embracing the future in safe and responsible ways is something that we would love to do. I'm happy to take any questions.
Great. Thank you. Questions for the witness? Senator Washington.
Yeah. Sorry, Mr. Jared, I should have probably asked the Waymo representative this, but are you aware of how they do deal with safety? Like, do they do software recalls or update or I know Google obviously has the capacity to update because, you know, Google uses a different font every day to tell you that you're on Google. So do you know what those procedures are? Or I can hold that and ask offline.
Yeah, I'll avoid my anecdotal testimony, but for the specific procedures, I think it would be a better question for the actual Waymo team to answer that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any other questions for the witness? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else here to testify in favor?
Good afternoon, Chairman and committee members. I'm Heather Elder, here to offer support of House Committee substitutes for House Bills 2069 and 2208. Mothers Against Drunk Driving does support the safe deployment of autonomous vehicles in Missouri, increasing the reach of our mission to end preventable deaths and injuries caused by impaired driving. According to stats provided by the Missouri Department of Transportation just yesterday, preliminary 2025 data shows there were 5,152 crashes involving a substance-impaired driver in Missouri. Since 2019, impaired driving deaths have risen by 20%. In Missouri alone, 955 people were killed in vehicle crashes in 2024, with 27% of those fatalities involving an alcohol-impaired driver. MAD's mission is to end impaired driving and to support the victims of this violent crime. Meeting today's and tomorrow's challenges require more than yesterday's tools. The next wave of prevention must include innovative approaches that reach people where they live, learn, and connect. The severity of the impaired driving crisis demands bold and innovative solutions. Autonomous vehicle technology has the potential to significantly reduce impaired driving and prevent the tragic loss of life that devastates so many families and communities. Advanced vehicle technologies, including autonomous vehicles, are a key pillar of MAD's mission to end impaired driving for good. MAD supports the safe development and deployment of autonomous technology, which holds the promise of not only reducing traffic injuries and fatalities, but also supporting mass transit integration, providing safer transportation alternatives for all Missouri residents. Thank you for your time.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you. Anybody else here to testify in favor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kara Hoover on behalf of the Autonomous Vehicle Industry Association. We represent companies across the country in this space. We want to go on record in support of the bill. We do have some concerns with the liability language and would like to continue working with the sponsor moving forward on that, which he has said we will do. So we look forward to that.
Any questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else here to testify in favor?
Camelia Peterson with Americans for Prosperity, and I won't reiterate all of the data that you have heard in favor of this. I will say that we view this as an opportunity for more freedom and options and choices for people in Missouri. And Missouri is at a crossroads on many issues right now as to whether or not they will embrace technology that has good guardrails in place for the future and be at the leading edge of those things. I will say that, you know, in the process of this bill working through the legislature, I think the sponsors have made good faith efforts to address the concerns, and we have been pleased with those as well and encourage the committee to support.
Senator Brown.
What like operating system or satellite are these things running off of? I mean, is it like a Voss system or is it like a system you have to subscribe to? Because I run some autonomous like tractors, but you still have to be in the seat. It's like basically auto steer. They're not autonomous, so I take that back. But I mean, even the best you can get, you know, like if you really want to spend the money with John Deere, I'm going to go to John Deere here, and the senator sitting beside me probably knows better about this and back me up, but you spend a lot of money with it to get in with maybe a few inches or millimeters if you really want to spend the money, but you're not going to be perfect. So my point is I'd hate to be a couple inches off going down I-44, you know, navigating a curve, or going through my hometown in Raleigh being a couple inches off and to the left when I'm going, you know, and hitting somebody head on. So again, my question is, what system are these things operating off of?
I'm probably not the right person to answer the technical questions about the systems.
Because I can assure you I'm a hard no on this bill until
Sure.
I find that out.
Yeah, and I think that especially the Waymo representatives would be able to answer those probably in great detail for you. But I will say that I am excited for the technological advancements in farming machinery and things like that too, because I think we have a lot of exciting things coming down the road.
Yeah, and I guarantee the satellites they're using are probably better, or, you know, at least comparable to what these autonomous vehicles are using. You can go down the highway, you know, here in the next couple of weeks, and when that corn's up about 6 inches or so, you can see every once in a while a little blip in there. Well, that's because the auto steer crapped out for a second, which, I mean, is fine in that situation, but I don't think it would be when you're driving down the highway.
I think they can probably give you the details on that. But
Yeah, I want to see that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Further questions for the witness? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in favor of the bill? Anybody in opposition? hop up. Make sure we fill out a witness form for our records and proceed when you're ready.
Right here. My name is Bruce Frakes. I'm with the Teamsters Union in Kansas City and speaking a little bit on behalf today for the entire state. But we'd like to go over some information. I'm just hearing today that driverless tractor trailers are legal. It's okay to do it in the state. That's you ever heard that old saying, could have knocked me over with a feather? I think the state law says you have to have a Class A CDL and you have to have certain endorsements and training to operate freight across I-70 or any lane in the state of Missouri. So we take opposition with it. It's already legal, and if that's not the proponent in this bill, then don't worry about it. We've already got it fixed. I think it would be great to have it just to have it prohibited, that there absolutely will be no commercial vehicles included in this bill, and that would be a justifiable scenario. We look at if there's possibility of commercial vehicles going across the highways in the state of Missouri, there are a lot of things that a human driver does in a pre-trip, in a transport across from St. Louis to Kansas City, is checking air brakes, tires, lug nuts, load shift, and all the equipment that you have human eyes on. There's not a satellite going to read that. There's usually every couple of 100 miles or a couple hours, a driver is going to stop and check all that stuff, and the satellites are not going to do that with those issues, and we take issue with that. And so the deal about the drunk drivers or phones and stuff, there's laws in place for that. You can get a ticket now for having a phone in your hand, and some of these things are being addressed, but we would be in total opposition to this based on safety. Job killing, it's a horrible scenario for job creation. It scares people from the industry. And until there's more work on this isn't the time. And it's not a clarification that the commercial vehicles are out of this bill. And I know that we're limited on time, and I want to say that I'd be happy to take any questions from anybody that may have them on where we're at with that.
Any questions for the witness?
Mr. Chair. Yeah.
Senator Schnelting, go
Did
ahead.
I hear you right, sir, that you feel like there's no language in here that actually is prohibitive of tractor trailers carrying freight?
Yeah, there's no
I just
weight
want to be
limits,
very clear.
and we call an autonomous vehicle a vehicle. It doesn't, as it's presented here today, even as the senator asked, it still shows that that is in there. That it was in the 2069 bill that says does not exempt commercial. And we went over that a couple times at the House side. And so the question is, why is it in there? How did that wording come in? And it's our position it's not clearly out based on weight limits and the description of an autonomous vehicle. Doesn't say truck. And that's our position. That's our opposition to that.
Got it. That's one of my concerns. I share that concern. I have some hesitations. Maybe we can, maybe the chair is willing to work on that, but we can talk with them offline. Thank you.
Thank you for the question, sir.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Anybody else here to testify in opposition?
Thank you very much, ladies, gentlemen, senators. I was not in a timely manner for House Bill 1827. If I could drop that in there in support of, I appreciate that. Tony Shepard, ABATE from Missouri, testifying in opposition of this bill. We've got some attached these. Just recently, went through the NTSB, and if I get their initials right, the ILLHS or whatever it is on there, I don't always get that right. They have come out in flagrant opposition heavily against these autonomous vehicles due to the crashes and fatalities that are still happening. I do believe we can keep working at it, but we're not there yet. They don't recognize motorcycles, pedestrians, bicycles, a lot of small objects. They don't recognize fire trucks that are parked, and they still crash into them. I could give you testimony back, but all you have to do is open up your eyes and read the paper. They're out there. Everybody's saying they're safer, they're safer. Well, where are these statistics coming from? A lot of times it's from the company itself. Reiterate, commercial drivers. I've been a commercial driver. There's not a computer out there yet that's designed on taking care of everything in our loads. But I think it's coming at us, but I don't think we're there yet. And the government officials up in there, like I say, the NTSB, they're pretty accurate. They did the study for the Ford system, and I think they had some of the Waymo in there, and they're saying it's not working out yet, folks. It's there, but it's not working out yet. That's all I got.
Any questions for this witness? Seeing none. Anybody else here to testify in opposition?
Thank you, Chairman. My name is Jerry Wood. I'm Teamsters Local 955, Kansas City. We represent the majority of the school bus drivers that are in private company across the state of Missouri. And we have a lot of issues with these cars, and one of the main ones is they don't recognize the stop signs on the side of the school buses, and they've been driving through those. The most important cargo we have on the road, and some of the least paid drivers, are our school bus drivers. Their job is to take care of those children, make sure they can get across that street safe. You know, I keep hearing they're learning, they're getting better. You know, I taught 3 kids to drive. There are unforgivable sins, and driving around that school bus is one of them. Until they learn not to do that, I don't think we should have them on these roads, period. So there's other issues we have with them you know, you get in, cities can't make rules against them, so, you get in Columbia, you come out of a bar 2 in the morning when the kids are all coming out, or college kids. You got to go to a certain area to get in that car, to get your taxi. It's a safe way for the kids to know where to go, who's getting the car, what cars they're going to be, and it doesn't build up traffic, cause more issues. Columbia should have the right to have that, to write language and write a bill for their city to stop anybody from coming in and doing things they don't want in this manner. So for the safety of the children alone, I think is enough that we need to just back up, give it time, let them get it right before they put them on the roads. So with that, I'll open for questions.
Thanks for your testimony. Any questions? Seeing none.
Thank you.
Any further testimony in opposition?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Joe Widmer with Freedom Road Riders. We're in opposition. I tried to get behind this, but I can't really yet. Motorcycle and community recognizes the promise of advanced driver assistance systems and autonomous vehicle technology, but we remain deeply concerned about their real-world performance when interacting with motorcycles. Motorcycles present a unique profile on the roadway that is fundamentally different from cars, trucks, pedestrians, and cyclists. The narrower silhouette, varying riding positions, lateral movement within a lane, and exposure to blind spots and occlusion issues make them harder to detect, classify, and track using today's sensor suites and software logic. While we agree that there is a minimum standard for financial responsibility, we feel that it is substandard for these types of vehicles. According to page 4 on here, it's they're defined in section 303.020. That's the minimum standard for vehicles. That's 25,000, 50,000, and 25,000. And I think that really needs to be much higher. So, and another issue we might have later on, I hope, or at some point, would be if a motorcycle is using lane filtering on the streets, how do these vehicles react to that type of maneuver? So with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for this witness? Seeing none. Thank you for testimony. Anybody else here to testify in opposition?
Good morning, Senators. I'm David Claridge today, appearing on behalf of the Missouri Association of Trial Attorneys in opposition to House Bill 2069. The issues of liability have been mentioned repeatedly. Senator Shore, you're right to mention them, as Senator Weber alluded, and the previous witness from the Freedom of the Road Riders. The bill actually is certainly unclear in its drafting. In addition to many other provisions, the Missouri Association of Trial Attorneys has concerns with 304.923 and 304.927. We read that to potentially be 4 different standards. You have the 2550 that's found in 923 and 3 additional standards under 927, because it allows the Waymo product to be operated as transportation network, a taxi, or ground transportation for hire, all of which are definitionally defined. And therefore, Mr. Chairman and Senators, we would encourage, despite our efforts for the last several months in trying to resolve or at least clarify these issues, that we address these issues and the others that are contained in this legislation. We've had the opportunity to speak with all of you in respect to this legislation. We understand the technology is here, but we believe that this drafting is not the way in which to roll this product out on your streets.
Thank you. Any questions for the witness? Senator Schroer, go ahead.
David, I don't know if you're aware, there's somebody who works in this building every single day. I just heard this story today. I'm not going to out them, but I do have permission to talk about their story, that they were in a Waymo in Arizona and felt that they were, for lack of a better word, kidnapped or falsely imprisoned, their entire family. And they called, and it was somebody that was not speaking English, probably from a different country, which that's fine. I know there are some concerns of people that aren't licensed American drivers. Is there anything in this bill that you've seen on the House or the Senate side that would cover liability in those situations for false imprisonment or those types of situations? I know we've discussed if somebody's gets involved in a wreck or if they're injured, but what about these other instances where they think that they're able to get out and they're taken to a different destination?
Senator, great question, and as you know, that just took place over spring break, and the answer is no. There's nothing in this legislation that would address those issues. Those issues are not infrequent either. We have anecdotal examples that there are still problems. The technology is going to fail because it's technology. The question is what happens when it does and somebody in fact is injured, one of your family members, one of your constituents. How are we going to address that? This legislation has to be crystal clear on who's going to be accountable, because that will ensure that the product that is on our streets is in fact the safest.
Well, I know this story also, they indicated how the Waymo didn't recognize that his very young daughter wasn't in her car seat, and that presents other liability issues as well if it suddenly stops and the kid goes flying into the dash. And those are some of the concerns that I think the majority of the committee wants to see ironed out before this is ready for the floor.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Any more opposition to the bill?
Good morning, Senators. I'm Tim Morgan. I represent the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers in Trainmen. I represent all the locomotive engineers in the state of Missouri. After a quick Google search this morning, there has been 3 incidents in the month of March that a Waymo car gets trapped between the gates, that a Waymo car turns and goes up to a passenger rail, light rail duty systems that turns on the tracks. Locomotive engineers have enough stress. We deal with close calls. We actually have a hotline that we can call right on the train and give out close call meets. So when you put this passenger in this car and they have no way of escaping to get out, that's just added more liability for us, for the railroad. So we're testifying in opposition.
Thank you for your testimony, sir. I've got a couple questions. I just Googled car gets stuck on tracks. There's 3 days ago, I think this is Arizona, the car flips onto railroad tracks after early morning crash. Oregon, man struck by train after car gets stuck on tracks. Marietta, man dies after car gets stuck on tracks. Man struck by freight train in Lewiston gets trapped under railroad car. These are all non-autonomous drivers that if you Google the same thing, they're showing up too.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and these obviously this technology has a way to go. So it's not a claim against necessarily your testimony outside of like it's easy to Google things and find similar things, but for normal drivers that are I would say having these type of accidents on a much more regular basis than an autonomous vehicle. So I just want to make that point because it's easy to Google stuff and find stories
Oh,
that are
absolutely.
much more egregious for driver cars.
I've been running trains for 38 years. I've had my
You understand it.
I've had my fair share of train car collisions.
I bet.
Way too many. People not paying attention. So, but I will tell you, I have hit 2 cars that were empty. The people got stuck on the railroad tracks. They saw the train come in. They got out. In 38 years, they got out. It could be an insurance thing. They got out of the car. They were not injured. The car was destroyed. In this situation, from my understanding, from what everybody's testifying, is you can't get out of these cars.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Senator
Yes.
Brown, go ahead.
Is there any data to compare that to autonomous trains now?
With autonomous trains,
Yeah,
we don't have autonomous
that's
trains.
what I thought. So I just, with the accidents we have that are propelled by, like humans, we just don't have anything to compare that data to on the accident crashes right now. I'm assuming probably in Europe there is some autonomous trains,
I'm
maybe
assuming
not.
Japan, we have the same technology as you do when you talk about your tractors. We can get up there, we can get the train up to 8 miles an hour, hit a button, and it takes over. And it operates for us. And we are there to make sure that it does the job properly. That's the closest to autonomous that we have.
Right. Well, that was my question. I just wanted to be clear. We don't have autonomous trains now, so we don't have any data to compare the crash incidences with. Yeah.
It's coming in the future.
I wonder how people would feel about getting on an autonomous airplane.
Yeah, I often wonder that. Or the autonomous stuff is coming. We know that. We see it. I watched the Jetsons, remember?
I would just assume keep it in a fenced-in area on a
I
farm, though.
absolutely would love to see this stuff
Yeah.
kept in
Thank
a
you.
fenced-in area. Yes, Senator.
Senator Washington, go ahead.
Thank you. Real quick, you mentioned that there are currently no autonomous trains, right?
There's
Do you
no
know if there
autonomous
are
trains.
in Canada?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of. Now, we do have...
But that is one of the pushes for a company that just came into my area.
The CSX Railroad has implemented a zero-to-zero technology in the goal, the end game of being autonomous. That means the train will start itself, run through its route, and stop itself at the end of the route. That is one step that we're fighting as locomotive engineers to keep that from happening, the zero-to-zero, to keep that autonomous part from happening. I'm from central Missouri, and we've had 3 train derailments last year on my railroad alone that were caused by this pilot project that they have, this of the train controlling itself. All right, we had 3 major derailments. You guys didn't hear about them. You
I
didn't hear
did
about
because
East
my
Palestine.
ex-boyfriend is in your union, but
You heard about East Palestine, but you didn't hear about Holiday, Missouri. There was 2 of them that went 2 miles apart from each other because it destroyed a bunch of corn. All right, we had hazardous material on there. None of it was exposed to anything, but we had a major derailment. But you didn't hear anything about it because it happened out in a cornfield. And that was all caused by what you're talking about, that it's that glitch in the computer that sent this train into It was in undulating territory, so you had slack coming in, you had slack going out. An engineer can prevent the slack from coming in and out. So that's what happened.
Thank
with our
you.
pilot
Any
project.
other questions? We still need to get to a vote in an executive session in this committee, so.
When are
Senator
we
Brown,
voting
go
on
ahead.
this bill?
Thank you.
Probably not today.
Well, okay, because that's my major concern is what we've been hearing this opposition. There's no definition of what this thing go on. I mean, I don't have as big a problem with having autonomous technology on passenger vehicles as I do 80,000-pound death machines and millions of pound death machines that are going on the road. I don't see why there's a use for this in the commercial space, period, when it comes to trucks and trailers and trains. So just want to get that out there.
I
If
think
we're voting on this
very
today,
open to figure out how
I'm
to
a
get down that
definite no.
path. Definitely open to get down that path
Yeah.
and figure it out.
I just wanted to put that out there because we vote on
Yeah.
this today. I'm a hard no.
Got it. Anybody else here to testify in opposition? Anyone for informational purposes only? Representative, I've got a thought here around, I think, Senator Weber's question, just to make sure we're clear. The House passed an amendment, and I see it on page 3, Senator Weber. You can see the language if you have the bill right there. It's regarding who's interacting with these vehicles. It says a natural person who is not physically situated in the driver's seat of a fully autonomous vehicle and who provides real-time operational and tactical function performance data related to the dynamic driving task fallback, including but not limited to real-time braking, steering, acceleration, and transmission shifting, shall be physically present in the United States of America and maintain a validly issued driver's license from a state, territory, or possession of the United States. So just to clear that up, I think the House put a requirement to ensure that American was actually interacting with these vehicles. Secondly, just on a high level, this is coming. I think when we make decisions off of anecdotal fears, we're inhibiting our state's economy. This is just my broad statement on this because I'm the Senate carrier and I feel like I get, as the chair, a little bit of leeway to myself to have a statement on this. We're, in the innovation space, we have states surrounding us that are already doing this. We have states that are embracing innovation and they're figuring out the frameworks later because innovation is the way our economy has to go. It's how we create a dynamic economy in the state of Missouri. And so this is just one small framework that I think we could work through the details of to get to a conclusion. I hope this session, maybe not this session, I won't have any control over it after this. So thank you, Representative, for bringing the bill before the committee, and that'll conclude the hearing. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee members. Appreciate it.
All right, we're going to go to executive session. If I can get a second. Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're in executive session. I move that Senate Bill 1078 be brought before the committee. All those, I need a second on that. Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. Bill is presented by Senator Schnelting, and it modifies provisions relating to weapons. There is a substitute ending in .03C. Senator Schnelting, would you care to explain the substitute?
I will, Mr. Chair. Thank you. The substitute essentially strips the bill down to just the AG language so that the AG's assistants may carry. And that's it, Mr. Chair.
Any questions on the substitute? Questions on the substitute? Okay. I move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion? All those in favor of adopting this committee substitute say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. We've adopted the substitute. I now move that we vote Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 1078 do pass. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
By your vote of 3-2, motion carries. I move that Senate Bill 1182 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Second. I have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill is presented by Senator Trent. It authorized counties to provide vehicle weight exemptions for certain vehicles. There is a substitute ending in .03C. The substitute makes technical changes to the bill, limits qualifying modes of transport to multimodal trips within a single county, changes the county commission of the Missouri Department of Transportation places a mileage cap of 16 miles on one-way trips and 32 miles on round trips, and requires MoDOT to grant the exemptions in this act to any truck, tractor, trailer, train, or other combination that qualify for such exemption, and specifies that the exemption shall be available regardless of reducibility of the weight of the load carried. Any discussion on the bill or the substitute? Hearing none. I move that we adopt the substitute. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. We've adopted the substitute. I now move that we vote Senate Committee substitute for Senate Bill 1182 do pass. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any further discussion? Let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
By your vote of 4-1, the motion carries. I now move that Senate Bill 1409 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. The bill is presented by Senator Berger. It creates the purple alert system within the Department of Public Safety. Any discussion? Hearing none, I now move that we vote Senate Bill 1409 do pass. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Senator Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
By your vote of 5-0, the motion carries. I now move that House Bill 1786 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill was presented by Representative Voss. It modifies provisions relating to highway patrol, purchases of motor vehicles, watercraft motors, and trailers. I'm pretty sure we passed the Senate version of this. Any discussion? Hearing none, I move that we vote House Bill 1786 do pass. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion? Seeing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
By a vote of 5-0, the motion carries. I now move that House Bill 2145 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill is presented by Representative Calberlow. Modifies provisions relating to outdoor advertising. I'm pretty sure Senator Crawford has a version of this as well. Any discussion on the bill? Hearing none, I move that we vote House Bill 2145 do pass. Do I have a second? Having a second, all the let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
One. By your vote of 4-1, the motion carries. I move that House Committee substitute for House Bill 2774 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill was presented by Representative Knight, and it prohibits regulations on the sale or use of certain vehicles, tools, and equipment based on their fuel source. Any discussion? Seeing none, I now move that we vote House Committee substitute for House Bill 2774 do pass. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Alyssa, call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
By a vote of 3-2, the motion carries. I move that House Bill 2928 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill is presented by Representative Schulte. It modifies provisions relating to qualified firearms safety instructors. Is there any discussion? My representative has been waiting very patiently for our committee to get done to get to this. So, seeing no further discussion, I move that we vote House Bill 2928 do pass. Do I have a second? Having a second, Alyssa, call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
By a vote of 3-2, the motion carries. I now move that House Bill 1827 be brought before the committee. Do I have a second? Have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is before the committee. This bill is presented by Representative Violet, in which adds licensed occupational therapists. We just heard this bill today. Is there any, and obviously Senator Weber has a version of this that we've passed out of the committee. Any discussion? Seeing none, I move that we vote House Bill 1827 do pass. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion? Let's call the roll. Also, we have a consent motion after this, so stick around for a second. This is the last one.
Senator Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington.
This is the one where he got one like it.
Yes.
For the representative, I will vote yes. For the representative.
She's also very kindly stuck around to watch us.
Senator Weber.
By your vote of 5-0, the motion carries. Now, does anybody dissent? We won't take a vote on it. Is anybody's that has a problem with it going consent? Okay. All right. I now move that we vote House Bill 1827 consent. Do I have a second? Having a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, let's call the roll.
Senators Fitzwater.
Aye.
Schnelting. Brown. Gregory. Shore. Washington. Weber.
By unanimous vote, that motion carries. I now make a motion to exit executive session. Having a second, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We're out of executive session. Having no further business before the committee, make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Having a second, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. We're adjourned.